Well, hello. As I'm sure about 10% of you knew, there was an AMA hosted on Neverwinter's Reddit this afternoon. The AMA was intended to be a place where two of the designers, Elliot and Ryan, could answer questions about the upcoming leveling changes in Mod 21. However, the majority of the questions asked did not pertain to leveling, and I'm sure not a single one of us is surprised by that. I'm not sure if leveling was the best topic to have an AMA on. In fact, I know it is not the best topic to have an AMA on. But I thought there would be more than like 5 leveling related questions. However, part of that problem is the very first thing I said, that I'm sure only 10% of you knew about it. And on top of that, a lot of people just don't use Reddit. Anyways, this video is going to be a summary of that AMA so that you don't have to read through the entire thread, which admittedly is not very long and doesn't have very much useful information in it, but I figured I would summarize it anyways. So without further ado, I'll tackle the handful of leveling related questions first and then delve into some other things that we got some answers for. I'm sure the first question a lot of you are probably asking is, what is a content designer? So the answer to that question is content designers typically are the ones building out the adventure zones, instances, and the quests that exist in the game. And then they also work a little bit on seasonal events and just the overall game story. So first things first, a lot of people were questioning about the professions maps. Since Mount Hotnow and Pirate Skyhold are being removed, what is going to happen to those professions maps and their related materials? So those materials have been moved to different zones within the new leveling spectrum, and the maps that you currently have will work for those areas, and you'll still be able to get those materials the same, just in a different spot. One question that was asked that I would have never thought to ask is about the dungeons that were related to the leveling zones that have been removed. The dungeons in question being Pirate's Retreat, Cragmire Crypts, and Temple of the Spider, at least those were the examples given. Their associated leveling zones will no longer be in the game, so the person wanted to know if those dungeons were going to be removed, and the answer is no. So you don't have to worry about those dungeons going away, so you can always go have a little bit of a taste of those zones whenever it hits your fancy. Is that a phrase people use, hits your fancy? I don't think so. There is also some concern about the gold income for players who are leveling, specifically newer players, because removing enchantments has always been pretty expensive. At least, from a new player perspective, when you don't have thousands of gold in your bank or on other characters. But they have made some changes recently to make removing enchantments cost less gold, or at least make it more reasonable while you're leveling. I'm assuming that just means that the lower rank enchantment you have, the less it will cost to remove. I don't know that for certain. That's just a complete guess, and please don't take that as fact because I have not checked. I'm not even sure if it's on preview yet, but that's my guess. Let's see. Some people were concerned about how the item level of the Undermountain gear is lower than the gear that you get while leveling, and that is something that has been fixed and will be on preview at some point in the near future. So that should no longer be a concern. And the last thing that's kind of related to leveling is how right now there's a pack on the Zen store where you can Nox's recruitment pack or something, where you can buy a level 70 character and it comes with some stuff to help you out. So people were wondering, what's going to happen to that package? Is it going to be replaced? And the answer is yes, it's going to be replaced with something new, and if you have bought one of those in its current state and have it unused, you can claim a new pack and then apply it to a new character in Mod 21. So if you have bought that and have not used it yet, your purchase will not be wasted. Okay, now there's some other stuff that was talked about, just a handful of other things that I noticed. Surprisingly, a few people commented on this, is the epic mount drop rate from Bell, the Hellhound or whatever it is. There are people who are like, I've fought Bell thousands of times and never gotten the mounts, and then one of the designers said, that's probably an issue and we're probably going to look into it. So, if you're one of those people who have also been trying to get that mount and have been unsuccessful, it may not be a case of your terribly bad RNG. Or it may be a case of your bad RNG plus an issue, I don't know. But that is something that they are looking into. Okay, I guess this next question kind of pertains to leveling, and that is about the training room. That is something that you're introduced to while leveling, so I guess it kind of fits. There was a question about if new features are going to be added to the training room or if it's in its final state right now. And the answer to that one is the training room is continuously evolving, and they're definitely going to add more features as they get feedback from preview and if they see that certain things are being requested or would be useful. And for example, they recently added a high HP boss based on the preview feedback, which is actually something that I wanted to see as well, so I'm pretty happy about that. Although I don't know if it is on preview currently or if it is slotted for the next update or the update after that or something. As always, we had a few questions about if there was ever going to be a Stronghold update. And unfortunately, the answer to that is they want to do it, but they don't have any solid plans yet, which is a shame because I've been patiently waiting for several years now for a Stronghold update. I really just want, like, Guildhall 25 and an extra boon plot. I guess some new Stronghold quests would be nice too, that give, like, updated, I don't know, campaign currencies or something. Guilds are a very, I guess, integral part of the game, and they provide a lot of benefits to players, and so I feel like something like that should be a bit higher on their priority list, but then again, I'm not really a developer, so I don't know. But that is something that myself and a ton of other players would really like to see. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if an entire module was based around the Stronghold rework. That would be pretty nice, actually. Okay, last question that I found notable was that there are going to be exchanges for items that are now obsolete, like the Underdark campaign completion. So if you have any items that you are worried may become completely useless with Mod 21, there will most likely be an exchange for that. The end. There were a couple of other questions that were not relevant to the leveling topic, like about mythic insignias and PvP, but there weren't really any good answers to them. And so that's about everything that was talked about in the AMA. I've saved you about 10 minutes of mindless reading. There were a lot of other questions asked that were not answered. A lot of them were not following the topic, though, so I don't know if that's really the devs' fault, because they are content designers and not systems designers, so they're not really equipped to answer those kinds of questions. Although I will say that I do think there definitely needs to be a systems AMA soon, or at least a systems stream soon, some kind of player-dev interaction about systems, because that is where the majority of the questions and concerns lie with new content always. So I definitely think that needs to be done more frequently. Maybe keep people a little bit less stressed out about new stuff. Okay, well, I mean, that's about everything that I have for you today. The AMA, just like all AMAs are, was relatively disappointing. There's a bunch of different reasons as to why that is. A lot of people don't use Reddit. I'm sure only about 10% of you even knew it was happening. The topic was not the greatest. A lot of the questions fell outside the topic, but are definitely valid concerns, but the people who could answer those questions were not there. And also, I'm sure time zones probably had an impact on the amount of questions as well. I think for future AMAs, maybe they should open it up like a day ahead of time, but then force the Reddit mods to have all comments be moderated and only include the questions. So that way, whenever the AMA starts, the devs can sit down and be like, hey, this is the list of questions that have been asked, and then they can just boom, 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 answer them. That's how I would do it. But, you know, I'm not the one hosting the AMA, so. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thank you for watching or listening or whatever. If you have not, please consider subscribing, because I am going to cover a bunch of the new update stuff, and I'm sure you probably want to hear about it. And that's it, I'm gonna leave now. Okay, bye.